Those kids have parents who are the generation we were just talking about. It's those same millennials and Gen Zs who come into the workplace and say, what's wrong with you people that you work like this? And I have a lot of confidence in that generation of parents who will be a lot more deliberate about talking about how do we socialize, talking about mental health issues, talking about the impact of events. We are essentially going through similar experiences to what many of our grandparents and even great-grandparents went through, for example, in World War II. I watch movies and read the stories of London while it was being bombed by the Germans. And they were basically in lockdown. And they also basically had electricity switched off because they had to keep all of their lights off at night. They had to go down to bomb shelters all the time. The schools were closed. Kids were actually just sent off to random strangers outside in the countryside. That's where the Narnia series of books always comes from. The kids are sent away to their uncle who they don't know, and they've got to stay in his house in the countryside. Now, that generation, our grandparents and great-grandparents, they just never spoke about it. They must have had PTSD and issues. And that's what created them as a generation. They called the silent generation by the academics. They're a generation who just, children should be seen and not heard, and just get on with it and don't complain. And I think that today's young people and today's younger parents are different. I think we are in the process of learning new ways of being, where we talk about these things, where we acknowledge our pain and our trauma and our issues, where we take the time to understand it, where we go to therapy, where we take medication, and we talk about it. You've just talked about it yourself. My family, myself, we normalize those conversations, and that gives me a lot of confidence for the future. Now, if our conversation today is about the future of work, well then, are we going to accelerate some of those conversations in the workplace? I think COVID will force us to. I think COVID will force us to confront trauma, to confront issues. When we start going back to the office, we're going to have to engage. I think we're going to have to employ therapists and coaches who can help people to reintegrate back into being part of a group and a community again. But I have a lot of confidence that we will be able to do that. Or maybe I can phrase it slightly differently. I have a lot of hope that we will do that. And that will make a better world because of it.